25 gallons a minute?
35 gallons a minute. Well, that's what they're rated for, but you could probably get 60 gallons out of it if you wanted to. An inch and a half, you're probably looking at closer to 100 gallons a minute.
Okay. So it's not really that huge of a difference.
But it would really matter where it was broken, what it was doing. But
okay.
At the end of the day, the whole thing needs to be revamped and redone with drip to make it more efficient. Like was stated a little while ago, the water conservation part of the planning department is interested in helping with that. But I think the reason we're here talking about tonight is that Director Calvins wants to take that back over.
I don't know how that works.
Oh gosh.
So I think that's the discussion we really need to have. It's not necessarily the state of it necessarily, but whether or not the district is going to enter back into the landscaping. It is something that we can legally do if we go through the proper channels to legally do it. Before we were kind of bootlegging it, and didn't really work out so well. I'm not opposed to doing it, but it would come at an additional cost to replace what's there.
When will they know about the grant funding?
Any day. It's up to the Board of Supervisors. Actually, I talked to Vicki about it last night, and Sean's assistant, and she asked me if I knew it was approved yet. And I
So it's the source.
I said, well, my understanding is it has to go to the Board of Supervisors, and she said, oh, maybe it was on the consent agenda. She'll check, which means they don't check their consent agenda very often. But that means any time they could decide. And I sort of feel like somehow or other, the CSD needs to have a serious discussion with Mike before, if he gets the money, which I'm assuming he will. I shouldn't say he, the chamber, that they don't start moving forward with something that needs to be done properly. And you don't need any further butting of heads about that before you're trying to figure out how to make it better. I think that's really important, that somebody who can talk agreeably with Mike can work that out. Mike's supposed to be having surgery again soon, and I thought it was this week, but he was at the meeting last night. So.
If the grant came in and the district wanted to consider being part of the landscaping there, if the district stepped in now, would that prevent the grant from being funded?
No, I don't think so, because the chamber, if they get the grant will be for what they ask to do, which is replace that water system. And that doesn't preclude them from having other people that they work with on that grant. Because they know the one we're applying for, we can have a variety of people helping us.
The check's gonna be written to the chamber?
It would be, yes.
Well, then I think what we could do then is, we need to say, if you want us to continue to provide water, you will build this irrigation system with this money to our specs, or...
Kindly.
Yes.
Well, I mean...
You need...
Not put in another system with skinny feet.
With all the stuff that's going on about water, to have this going on in town it's kind of absurd.
That needs to be the goal. But I think the better approach is we might be able to get you some additional money to make that be done properly.
Yeah.
If
Conservation
you'll
people seem
allow
interested.
us to assist with this in some way by coordinating some efforts, or I don't know. And then, Kelly can say, because I think I can get you some money through the conservation group, which they could probably do themselves, but it's a good way to a better relationship and be able to work that out so you're not wasting this much water. That's the main goal to me.
I would agree,
is
yes.
to not be wasting that water.
So why don't we, pending the outcome of the grant funding with the chamber, potentially see if the conservation group would like to assist?
Well,
Bring it
they're
back for further
not, I
discussion.
don't, Yeah.
Yeah, because I would like to see our community, beautify. I like the stuff that's happening, but we don't really have any concrete way to maintain it right now, besides Mike, who's in not the best health. We even got a gateway sign, just outside town. Who's maintaining that? I was
The
told.
chamber's supposed to be.
Okay, well, so,
Yes.
again,
One of us needs to bring a weed eater out there, but.
it's like there's things that we could really do, just to make very simple things that are very inexpensive, that we could do under our lighting budget, that we have the funding for,
Yeah.
that to help beautify the community and make sure we're not wasting more at the same time. That's the way I was looking at it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and I don't think that's a bad idea, but I think the more urgent matter is dealing with the possibility of this $22,000 coming in and maybe not being used in the best way.
Right, so, but if we look at the whole picture, we go forward with this, then we can coordinate with Mike, we
Right.
have the leverage to go for the conservation money, we can then start maintaining, we can start thinking about those kinds of things.
Yeah.
That's why I kept wanting to bring this back, 'cause I remember what Mike Ellison did, I saw the paperwork, that was bad. Mike literally went, he sent 2 papers, one to that was Mike Ellison, the former general manager, sent one to this board saying one thing, and then sent a different letter to the county saying the opposite.
Evidently.
Evidently, I have a picture of showing both letters, signed by him, it was not good.
Yeah.
So, I can talk to Mike and just offer my service to help facilitate that if they happen to get that. We're already talking to the water conservation portion of the planning, so we can kind of lead them that way. I don't know
Say,
how
hey, we
far.
got a great way to conserve water.
Yeah, right now.
Well, I think. it's
Instant
important.
results.
I don't know that they ever see this. Do they?
Well, that we just
Do they
got that
see
today,
this kind
so.
of stuff?
I requested this information because I knew that there had been some issues with the condition of the irrigation there, and if we're going to investigate or pursue ways to, use lighting funding for something other than lighting, we can't have things like this going on. We have a water fund that's in deficit, and I mean, the way I see it, if lighting's gonna be putting money in, then lighting owes $6,300 to the water fund that's in deficit for this money. But there's no instrument to do that. There's no, we're not
I don't have any meters that we
officially
don't
in
charge for.
the landscaping business, I guess, per se. But
Well, this is.
if we do get there, things like this can't happen.
But this isn't about saving money as much as it is saving
No,
water.
but I just think it's bad. It looks bad when you have a water fund that's in deficit and you're dumping
Right.
water on the ground
Right,
in large volumes.
and that's why.
And not
Mike
getting any
needs to
money
see
for it.
this. They need to realize.
It's a considerable amount of water.
Not just infrastructure, are we talking about providing maintenance of the beds themselves?
Under landscaping, I actually was researching a lot of that stuff. I mean, there's different options, you can either have a utility, low-level utility worker, you contract it. I mean,
Have to be complicated.
the city of Reading spends, on a quarter of their entire city, $30,000 a year to landscape all of their plants. It was, in Reading's, I think, 70,000 people. So I was looking at their budget and that stuff. So I think it could be done whatever direction the board would want to go. But I think there's an opportunity to fix the mess that's downtown and make the community look nicer.
So basically, at this point, I think what we probably need is a consensus of the board, if you guys want to bring it back for further discussion, to assume landscaping of Mission Street, and potentially follow the original park.
Talk to Mike
Or-
and stuff, or.
Right?
Or if you guys are not willing to do that, then I guess this discussion really isn't going anywhere, and I'll still talk to Mike about fixing some of
I
this.
think it's appropriate for staff to outreach to Mike and the
Yes.
board and the Chamber of Commerce and say, hey, we wanna be part of the solution on this. And, depending on how that goes, maybe go from there. Cause if, I mean, well, I guess we'd be taking it over, so it doesn't even matter how it goes, because if we decided to go landscaping, that would be our deal. We'd hire our own people, or we'd have people on staff doing it, correct?
So basically, at this point, I'm gonna talk to Mike anyway.
Right.
But, what, if we were to take it over, then we would probably use the staff that we already have. And it'd probably be a once a week or once a month kind of thing, or as needed. And we wouldn't have to necessarily hire more people. There would be initial investment to get that set up in the first place, get the lines fixed, and replace whatever plants were necessary to, you know, make it look like it should look. But really, before we can do any of that legwork, I need to know whether or not the board, there's consensus of the board to move forward with that. Because in order to actually spend money on that type of thing, we would need to fully embrace that part of our ability so that we are spending money legally on landscaping.
Why don't we determine what the initial commitment would be financially and what we'd be committing to maintain it?
Okay.
And
Bring it back.
More info?
And if at all, it would detract from the lighting fund, like the lighting project, cause I know that there's lights that we're trying to get installed. And I'd hate to see,
I don't think that this would affect that. Lighting it has enough revenue to cover what, sitting here I think we would be needing.
right,
And it has enough surplus to probably cover whatever the initial part is.
okay, but we don't need to take a bucket of it and walk around. So, but yeah, no, I'd be receptive to like, like looking at avenues. I mean, why not? The investigation's not, it's staff time, right? Basically.
Pretty much.
So,
Question now.
go ahead.
I'm not sure if this is the appropriate time, but I'm listening to everything that's going on, and who currently has ownership of the landscaping? Is it just Mike has taken it over because it's an orphan? Is it something that the county has jurisdiction over? Can we even take it over if we choose to? And who has ownership of that?
So the property is technically county property. However, the county, when they received that grant, basically said and I think part of the reason that we took it over initially was the county said, we're not gonna do it if you don't take it over to maintain it, because they weren't gonna commit any funds to maintaining it. And then it kind of progressed from there. Mike and the chamber really did take it over because the district said we're not gonna do it anymore, and it was an orphan child, and that was probably not the best avenue to take. But he has been taking care of it for quite a few years and doing his best at it, so.
Do we have consensus to gather information and bring it back to the board?
I would support that. If we're gonna do information, can I also ask just for the cost to pull the leaves from like the gate sign? Because the chamber is maintaining that again. Sure. I'm sorry.
There are some areas that other people maintain. The one on the corner of 13th Street,
Mm-hmm.
the fellow that owns that market takes care of that little corner. And the one down by the bus stop,
Mhm.
what's his name,
Gavino?
Gavino.
Yes.
He has his crew take care of that. So there are a couple that are maintained by businesses, but
Mhm.
that's.
Sounds like we need to get everybody together and say, hey, can we cooperate better?
This
We tried
business
to
It's
do
like a
that
basket
for
of
years,
cats
but
at the
there's a lot of
market.
holes in the property.
Right.
So if I have a consensus that you guys are willing to entertain this, then I will bring back the initial commitment cost, the ongoing commitment cost, and including what it would take to maintain the gateway sign. And then what we would have to do to actually fully take this part on. And at this point, all we'd be looking at is the 3 blocks along Mission Street and the gateway signs and potentially Father Reginald Park, which is currently maintained by the Native Sons. Is there any other areas that you guys specifically want to look at the costs for when we bring this back?
Originally, when I just want to throw it out there, and I don't want to distract from this the initial projects that you're listing, I mean, the only other areas I ever thought should have landscaping would be right in front of the Mission as people head towards downtown and by the park and ride, because when people come off of the freeway into this town, they see weeds and trash. And I don't know if that detracts from our community. I don't wanna delve too much into.
Were you talking about 10th Street?
10th Street, right, you get off of the freeway, you see the park and ride, they got that little bulb out where it's all the weeds that grow up in there and people.
I think
Is that the
Chevron's about
state
right.
fence?
State.
But then is
It's
that-
Caltrans.
Okay.
So,
Maybe John was.
Well, there's
yeah, you know, they usually take
Chevron.
better
They're in the
care of
abatement
it,
notice.
but since all the construction's there, they seem to have abandoned it.
Charging $1 million.
The Chevron water's
Those are
still
the
Same Hill.
other areas I was ever
Why don't we work on this, the scope you have initially, and once we have some feedback from that, we can potentially look at other spots.
Yeah.
Well, and once this is more or less set up and we can do this legitimately, then, you know, we can expand that if it becomes necessary.
Yeah.
But the concern from my perspective is spending money on something that we don't technically have the ability to spend money on,
Mhm.
because we never fully embrace that. So, I'll bring this back, probably July, August, December.
December.
I really will have to
Just
look
in
at
time
our
for Christmas.
future board meeting stuff, cause we have some big stuff coming up, but in the
Uh,
next
it
few
won't,
months.
it won't be any sooner than
Big stuff coming out.
We'll find out how fast they're moving though, because they're gonna get that grant, and if they get it, before it's
Yes.
not.
Make sure.
We need to contact them before it burns a hole in your pocket.
Or they go and purchase something that's not
Yes.
sufficient
Or they
for
go and
that
make
money.
deals.
So pretty much start that conversation and then whenever there's time on the agenda, bring it back for
Right.
the sixth. Okay.
So we do have a consensus.
Yes.
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 That's the four of
Okay.
them. Yes.
And we get some
We'll
donations.
move on to board comments. Last item, yes?
That's the last item.
Yeah, I would like to, with all this talk of, staff investigating things, the situation with the water, the whole big picture, I just wanted to say what's going on with well investigation, as developing our water resources, and, I'd like to maybe see that on a future agenda about where we are with well development and, you know, just